Hello guys, this is another attempt to continue with the port of PortAtank. Many things happen. I also heard from at least two people that my audio is low. It's indeed low, but I have some issues with my mic and I try from various settings to set it up. Like you have this, okay, I guess it goes there. I have to speak uh, I tried more. The levels are on max. And normally it's possible. Also, when I connect the audio jacks, I get another menu where I also put the levels max. So max that when on my headphones, when I, but that's about the, okay, there might be the headphones. I might hear some noise. Now the alternative was to use I had a USB connection, and the USB connection wasn't just a USB, it had this Pro X. It's a little box that I guess it has some internal chip that will magnify the sound a bit, and it sounded better, or maybe reduce noise. Okay, you might say this is low, but okay, if I speak, I put everything to 100%. That USB during the recording it disconnected, and I have to stop the recording and connect different videos. Now the normal thing to do would be to get the videos and do some post-processing after, so spend another 1 hour of my time. And I know this sounds bad because you might say you don't want to spend another 1 hour of my time. So I boosted things a bit more. I put my mic. I'm moving now the mic very close. I like connecting those audio jacks instead of the USB. I never had the other problem where I have to stop especially when I'm playing games and I record the gameplay. If it disconnects, things are lost, and I cannot stop the game there. So annoying. So I bought two audio jacks that connect to the cable, but there is no, this Pro X box I guess was an amplifier. Maybe the right word is amplifier. It seemed like a little box, and I thought it was just a connector, but I think it does the job. But I have removed that, and also when I connect it and disconnect, I have to go, I don't know, here, and I have to. I was like searching for 20 minutes. Why is there no audio? If I disconnect one and connect the other, I have to go here. Also here, that's the sister sounds. The microphone, I have the boost 100, I have everything 100%. Maybe I have to use the other thing. Solve the problem with USB disconnecting. But anyway, you know what? I'll continue now. I wanted to start the video about the. It's gonna be an everlasting problem, I guess. Unless I want to take the time to capture the video, open it in a video editor, and boost it after. Spend another half hour. Unless there is an easier way. Okay, maybe I will start with something good. The fact that this is gonna be loud on my side. Let's see. The fact that I was looking a bit at audio now. People have asked me if I'm going to do something for the MusPlay. I left the MusPlay for last. Because one way would be to. I'm also gonna try to speak a bit louder. So the audio part the music part, maybe at the end, maybe I can just record them and play as an streaming audio from CD. But I thought it would be a good it would be interesting to try to. Would it be hard? Would it be easy? I don't have much idea about audio programming. However, is this the one? Yes. Where is the side of this guy? Yeah, it's this one, and I downloaded 1994. It has the sources. I just connected the libraries. There might be more though. There might be. It would be interesting to see if this is possible. The other thing I was thinking about 3DO, I wanted to get away a bit from graphics programming at some point and try to make a mod player. And recently, not because of the MusPlay, but because of the beeper, I thought, okay, how do I play? First of all, how do I play samples? I started making some attempts to use the audio and play a simple sound. But even that took me time. So that's the simple audio. I don't know how loud it is. And I was fighting alone. I did ask ChatGPT and Grok, and they gave me something that looks like something, but they didn't. How to say? Although they gave some clues that led to something else, and I understood it later. It's not so simple. At first, I got some parts of the code from the Doom because I thought I have opted Doom. So I look how the burger lib does the play sound. It's using the 3DO audio stuff, but initially the thing I tried to do, stupid wrong way, and maybe asking the AI a bit. Then I tried to read the docs, but I cannot easily find an example. So the first thing I ever did was to do that. There was a sampler, and maybe it gave me the sampler. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna load the sample. I'm gonna attach the sample to the instrument. And I'm gonna just do that. Start instrument. And this is gonna play the sounds. And there was also a band frequency thing it gave me. If I want to change the frequency. Because to port the PC speaker, I want to play a very simple tone and change the frequency. Then I realized this didn't work. A lot of things didn't work. You could get some knobs for the amplitude, or you can. It gave me another thing actually. It gave me a, I think, load instrument VA or load sample VA, something like that, where you also put parameters for amplitude, frequency. But it didn't explain. Maybe ChatGPT in the beginning I say what's wrong with this code, and it says, sampler alone isn't giving an output. And I realized, man, Also, I realize how good, but you need to understand it a bit. The audio player is. This is in it. You have the folio calls, of course. Now there are some examples later, but I wanted something very simple. I wanted to play a sound. That's all I wanted to play. And it kinda says, okay, load sample to load AIF into memory. You can create, if I want to do some procedural generation, I could create sample. Now you have the instrument, you have the DSP instruments that run on the DSP. And if you go on the CD system, audio, okay, they have this sine wave. But they have all these DSP instruments, it's very interesting, but there are a lot. Now, Doom was using, I think, this one, var mono 8. Rate variable 8-bit sampler player. So it might be samples that are compressed in a way that it depends to the pitch. It could be 44 kHz, 22 kHz, depending on how many octaves it is or something. So maybe the samples, the AIFF, to reduce size also. Maybe the samples from Doom were like that, because if you go in this sound I found, this is 105 kilobytes, and it is this. If you go to the Optidum, where are Optidum repos? Analysis. Look how these are, they are very small, they are 10K at best. Can I see properties? AIFF. No difference here. Hold it. I'm curious. Yeah, exactly. Okay, first of all, this is 16-bit. How about this one? I just show that. Media information. Oh no, it's just 8. Okay, it's also much more. 8 kilohertz, 8-bit. Codec 2s. Okay, let me, because I cannot have two of them. Let me open again side by side. Codec 2's audio sample rate 48. Yeah, it's as high as get bit samples 8. That's the only thing. Here it says decoded format PCM U8. And it's mono also. It's also mono. It's not stereo. Interesting. And Doom was using var mono 8 for the DSP. So here's the thing. Some of the DSPs are just, some of them are reading samples. There are some processing ones. It's there is add, mul, multiply. Some are generators. Some are they are applying filters, and some are some of them will output to the audio, to the actual audio. There is the direct out. I saw later. Oh, maybe yeah. DAC. Oh, it says DAC output. So this is the. I see. Maybe not everything says. Writes to DAC and generates audio clock. I think it's the mixer is also sent to the DAC, digital audio converter. If it says that, if you connect this one, it's gonna play your sound finally. But this, connecting the sampler DSP, is not gonna play the sound. And I was fighting with this, was various reasons. The thing is, the cool thing that all these things can be changed. Here you see I say connect instruments. So you can have okay, you have the sample, which usually it's an AIFF file. That goes to whatever. And maybe it's the other way. The sampler DSP is gonna read it, but it has to go somewhere. And that other, an actual DSP that actually has DAC output. And that's how you get sound. But you can also connect more boxes to do effects. Now, if you don't want the sampler, I'm gonna show you later. You can use a generator of a sample if you don't want to load the file. Now, this test, this is not gonna work, of course, because that has to go somewhere. And also, the other thing I don't know, you need to know the outputs. So, this mixer is the one that Doom used for the sound effects. Actually, I made a mistake. I said it's using the var mono. It's also using the var mono 8, but it's using the var mono 8 here. Now, if I use the var mono 8, it might sound wrong because it's the wrong size of. Oh, not here. This is the wrong size. The sample is the wrong format. Yeah. But it might work with Doom sounds. And so you have all these items. Now Doom use this mixer instrument, which is good because you can mix four channel stereo mixer. And here's the thing, you have the knobs to change the gain, left and right gain. It takes 4 inputs, I only use input 0, and you have to know, because if here I said input, there are every DSP has various things you can change, and you have to find those strings. Now if you go here, not here, on the CD, this is how I found it at first. Because I had an issue, I could connect the Doom because I saw the Doom example. And the Doom example, by the way, is more sophisticated, but it's very easy. So it's even in the Burger library. You'll see it has voice counts. Voice count 4. It defines sampler instrument, the knob rate is the frequency. It changes the frequency a bit for the monsters. Variates the frequency. It has one mixer instrument. That's the music player. It uses a different thing. Now, in its sound player, the sound effects. And it loops over the voice count and it grabs left gain, right. It grabs these knobs. And see the input is saying input 0, but then here in the loop it takes the input and goes and edits 5, the fifth character, which is 0. And it makes it add I plus 0, and I goes from 0 to 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. It does the same here. It does it automatically because in reality, if you look at the mixer, it's not visible. You will see here input 3, input 2, input 1, input 0, left gain 3, 2, 1, 0, and so on. And if you open this, you have 7, 12, and everything has a string. So now it does this whole thing, and it has a system where it goes through every sound. If a sound stops, it will see if there is another free channel. Maybe it will play in some old channel. It has this whole system. Mine, I just got an because I was trying things and I couldn't play sound. I was asking the ChatGPT and Grok. It almost never. Maybe ChatGPT at some point say, you know what, sampler is not playing sound. You have to connect it. And then I looked at Doom source code, and it's more complicated here. And I simplified so because I wanted to play one sound. In the future, I might make it to play 4 sound, and it had to be input 0 for this. If I put input, so the mixer gets the input from the sampler. The sampler outputs. The output of the sampler goes to the input of the mixer, and the mixer has an output to the DAC, which means it plays the sound. But you don't care. You just have to know that the mixer will finally play what comes into the input. And so if I obviously build this, because I gave it the string input, it's not gonna, no input is gonna play. Maybe, okay, maybe if I get a return, an error return from that, it would tell me. So this has to be input 0. It could be input 1, input 2, input 3. And you can have a 4 channel playing. This is what made me think that we have the facilities to make. It doesn't play in input 1. Yeah, because I have to get the left gain 1. That's the other thing. By default, the gains were zero, so I couldn't hear no sound again. You know how many things I did to finally get an audio. And also this is really cool because you would think if I put that and I put that, you're gonna make it play only on the left side. I hear it on my left side now on my mic, my phones. So you can do a 4-channel mixing audio in hardware in the DSP. And that's where I thought maybe I should revisit this idea of writing a mod player or something like that. Because a lot of the facilities are here. You still have to read the mod, extract the samples. They're gonna be in a different format. And actually have the other thing I don't have is timing. But the thing is, if you say you still need some timing in the mod player. You need the tempo. You need some interrupt time or something. But here, when you say start instrument, it's gonna send the sample will play and will not. The sample will not end. And there are options that you can make the sample to loop forever or for many times. That also you send to the DSP. So all these functions are you grab the knobs. And this will, when you tweak them to change the frequency, amplitude, the gain, and so on. This is so cool. You attach sample. Select sample player. It also doesn't say. Yeah, the sampler might not output to the DAC. There was a sample. Select sample player. Oh wow. That's interesting. Ah, that's the name. What do you mean? Now we do that on init. Saying and you have this if I indicate whether or not the pitch is to vary. I see. Okay, just make it 0. And now maybe I can do draw text. I hope my draw text. Yeah. Is it? Is it the music? That's like an extra functionality. Fixed mono sample.dsp. Wow. Huh. And not sampler. Let me. That's a nice sound. Interesting. So I could. Where am I? Fixed mono 8. However, the other sound. What if I put 1 there? Like the pitch is going to vary. Why it give me fixed mono 8 again? Var mono 8. Huh. Interesting. I was here. So if you have the mixer, of course, for the output, var mono 8. That's even fun. That didn't do it. Ah, but wait, yeah, var mono 8. Is it fixed mono 8? I closed the. I will see what Becky did. Now let's put the original sound. So the frequency is too much. I know. And that's too little. Ah, because it said, is there a 16? First of all, it's 16-bit. Maybe there isn't. There are two things I want to show you. What we are not gonna do it. What Becky did. So for some reason, libburger. Those samples are, of course, they are 8 kilobits. Oh my god, I thought I seen that. It might be in a different place. Now you have all samples. Yes, it's even in a different place. It's in the main game. This is the place where I changed it to load the PlayStation sounds. In the main game. Yeah. So here we have the all samples and we have the all rates also. This is from the original code. I never changed anything except loading the PlayStation sounds. This could be easily be one line, just changing the folder offset here and not repeat the same line, whatever. Doesn't matter. And here, get audio item info. Divide. Get the DSP rate by 44,100. By 2 is it because stereo? The sound rate to get some real rate. And then here, tweak knob, sampler rate knob, by giving the all rate set to 11 kHz fixed. The sample was 8 kHz, it became 11 kHz. Maybe. I assume so. So anyway, I was seeing that and experimenting. Now for some reason the default sounds can have the sampler, and you see now I use this to play the sound. However, if you use the direct input, direct output, first of all this wouldn't be input 0, and then I made it input and it didn't work. Because only later you can open the file or you can go here and say okay, direct out, mix stereo pair with dark output. I wanted something more simple. I didn't want the gain knobs, even though this will be good for some I don't know, left right stereo depending on where the enemy is in a video game. And says the input are input left and input. There are two inputs, one for the left and one for the right. So see what I need to do. If I just use that direct out, and normally you have to say okay, if mixer ins, I don't know, less than 0 or minus or whatever, give me an error or something so that I know. This is the thing I also didn't do at first. But I have some code where I did it finally. And I think in this video I can show you some audio stuff. So we are not gonna... Now when I press down, it does that of course, because I just wanted to see what happens if you do start the... if button is pressed, while this is if button is pressed once. And I do stop instrument and start. Maybe you don't need it, maybe you do. And so yeah, that's when I figure out the sampler thing. I was able to use the direct. If you use the direct output, you don't need the gains. You don't need to bother with the gains. Now, if you use the mixer and you try to play the sound and you have the default values for the left right gain is 0 and you will hear nothing, so you have to tweak them to some value. Now I know the amplitude is 0 F. Yeah, this is the highest 16-bit rate, positive rate. I don't know what the highest for that one, but you can find them on the docs. Oh, and then its output is added to the output of the other mixers. You can start multiple mixers, then send to head. So head is the final one. Input no no. Oh, you don't touch it. It doesn't have an input. You cannot send it. This is internal. Rise to die. This is where everything ends, guys. Interesting. You cannot connect it. You wouldn't be able to send an input, output, whatever. No knobs, no nothing. Wow. This is, if you understand it, it's interesting. It's like, oh, okay, this player with the DSP, you can do a lot. You can do a lot. Initially, I wanted, give me the function, play sound, please. I was an idiot developer, but then I saw that there this mechanism, and it makes it interesting. Now, this thing for Doom is really good for. I will add something similar to Bizarro Underground when I started put sound effects and different enemies moving around and making weird noises. And you could possibly, with a game, you can make it coming from your left side or right side. Now I have also seen that. Maybe not see it here. That there is. I've seen it. Maybe it's not on the list. Sampler. Sampler and amplitude envelope pitch modulation. I need to see what random noise you can do stuff. So there are more. Interesting. You see there is a sampler 3D. Is it for 3D stereo surround? It says right feedback, right Z3, right Z2, Z1, Z0 feedback, left feedback. Right in fifth of bass. What the hell? Now, could those be terminologies? Z0, Z1 feedback, left 26, left. No, it doesn't say left 26. Could be terminology for the people who are building their movie with a 6 surround audio. I never bother with that. So this could be if you have like multiple speakers and you want to send to different outputs. But for a video game, this is a different thing. You just need have the gain knobs, and this would move the sound. If you smoothly change the values, you could move from center to left to right. When I play with my stereophones or whatever, and even on a TV with stereo. So the stereo sound, and I think Doom does all of this. It changes the frequency. Doom on the 3DO especially, but also on PC, it changes the frequency, varies the frequency of the enemy sounds. You can hear if something is on your left side, behind you, and so on. So it was doing some kind of audio positioning. So this could be very useful for this whole thing with the mixer. It is also good for a mod player. Huh. And now here's the thing, I wanted to experiment more. I didn't want, initially I thought I will upload a very simple sound. I don't know, a square waveform or something. And even Let's delete that. Even here, they have this sine very little. But then I did something else on PortAtank. Yesterday actually I spent time to try to implement the beeper sound, not the MusPlay, just the beeper, the sound effects, and I made them to be equivalent to the PC. And okay, I don't need that anymore. I wanted to generate a square in a sample. I don't need that anymore. I started with a buffer and I thought I would create a sample, but I didn't do it at the end. And I saw there is a square DSP. They have, they have square. A square waveform is the one that you have in very simple. I guess the PC speaker do, but also Amstrad CPC, for example. There is the triangle. There is something called modulating pulse wave. I know this is audio things. I don't know what they mean. Those could be There is a sawtooth. I've seen this when people talk about. And these are generators. Impulse waveform generator. Noise. White noise. Pulse. Red noise. So, with amplitude and filter envelope. These are things you can do in audio programming, and I don't know. This is the same if I didn't know about graphics and you told me about texture mapping, normals, texture coordinates, filtering, and so on. I know I've seen in players the sawtooth, the square wave, and so on. And I know that square is something that the Amstrad CPC is having. Triangle, triangle. And probably the PC speaker too. So what I did is I loaded the square. This is just a generator. I look at here. Interesting that head DSP is the one where everything ends. But you cannot change it. It also has frequency amplitude. No inputs. The outputs, it's outputs. It even tells you ticks memory. Interesting on the 3DO. So if you do some complex connection with a lot of things, it will take more ticks. But that's very interesting. So I connected that. I know it has an output. I got my frequency in W. Now I also loaded. It's called instrument, but this is the direct out DSP. The direct out DSP is gonna give to input left and right. The sampler is gonna give to output. I will start this. And later I will start, when I play sound I start this, and when I end the sound I stop this. Now I do have a system where I had some timings. This is from the old DOS code. And I had the sound duration. If it's greater than 0 it reduces and it loads. I had generated some frequency data like this. Now here's the thing. I thought these were frequencies like in the real world, but I found out that on a PC speaker, the thing that you sell to the post, now I don't have the code anymore, I commented it out and removed it. There was a code that I was outputting this frequency directly on the. But here you have, it's an inverse division, but this This is some clock time. This is how many hertz they are, and you divide by conversion pieces. This is what initially I was just doing that, man. I was doing that, and while I was playing, we are gonna hear it for the first time. Also, this is working well only if you can catch 60 frames, 50 or 60 frames. This is something I still haven't done, so we are overclocking. It's already overclocked, but let's overclock. I'm gonna remove the maybe not. This is not. It still goes at. That sounds a bit. But if you have shared actually let's run it. What? Oh my god, the scaling is different. The sound effects are different. Oh my god, I can't close it. Oh. But here the sounds are wrong. And they are wrong. Because you have to do that. Because it happens, the values that you send to PC speaker is not the actual sound frequency. It's something that is divided with that, and this might be hertz or 1.1. This might be the clock of the PC speaker or something. Yeah, it's also the timer, the pitch. Ah, yeah, the pitch. Yeah, 1/3 of the color bar frequency is 1/12 of the system crystals. Therefore, 1/4 of the four. And timer 2 was used for the PC speaker. So the pit, the programmer, yeah, this is wherever the timer. Also the timer. The timer I might get it from the same place. And that one is 80.2 hertz per frame per second. And this is why you have to divide the frequency. So in the PC speaker, the very low number made a very high pitch. You have to put higher numbers to get a very low sounding sound, very low pitch, because it's inverse, and this is exactly that. And I figured that out actually by association. I know I hate AI, but I was asking. Sometimes I don't tell them to write code. I tell them, please, why does this not work? I'm fed up. But I already knew what to ask because I guessed it. I guessed it that possibly the frequencies I send to the PC speaker are not the actual sound frequencies, but there is a conversion, there is a mapping. And I tell them what's going on. I think this is the clue, but can you tell me the mapping? And they tell me this is the mapping. So yeah. And now I was so happy to hear the exact same sounds. Now the sound, let's find, where are the collectibles? Oh, there, exactly, that's the same sound. That's very close, and I want to find the thing that gives you weapon power. Now, remember that this is overclocked, so that the sounds are good. Yeah, that's the sound. It's a bit slower because we are 60 Hz, and I have made this sounds for 70 Hz. This is why I need to have a timer. And look at this now. If I go up, things are slow. The sound plays slow because I updated on frame, and this is why I have. The cool thing is that we emulated the PC speaker sound using the audio and using that the square. I don't even have to also if I remove the VSync. Yeah, and this is the problem I also had on the PC at first, because all I knew in my whole life is start a player and wait for VSync and do effects in demo scene, and I never bothered too much with timer interrupts and so on. But on PC I had to bother, and I have this theory that demo scene is cool, but I think game development is harder. There are more things to solve, and even for PortAtank, I might continue that, and I'm going to say don't remove the submission. I said that to in development because I might want to continue. I might want to add some real enemies, more challenge, more levels. I might make a little level editor to to things. And one thing I first thought it would be cool if I had a split screen and two players play, or four players split screen, that would be cool. And then it hit me. Whoa, networking. I've never done anything about networking. I'm an absolutely noob about networking. And I could get two of my DOS machine connect, maybe connect some other, connect Doom and Duke Nukem. Try to set up a connection, try to learn, okay, what kind of different connections were at the time, and so I want to make it a bit multiplayer, maybe have a multiplayer mode for two or four players, and that would be something different. If I don't want to do graphics rendering all my life, which I don't mind because I think it's pretty cool. I'm not bored from graphics rendering, and also trying to make things really optimized for old hardware, things like that. Then that would be something, networking, but I'm talking about the DOS mode. On 3DO, okay, on 3DO I could support two player or four, yeah, I could connect multiple joypads, making a 2, 3 and 4 split screen. It would be interesting if this would be feasible. Now on 3DO, when I replace the cell renderer, which will be my next video, or I could even do this on the cafeteria when I go in the city and then continue it in this video. Maybe I should do some of this port work outside of the videos. I could get so good speed that maybe it would be possible. But the thing is, I need a timer, and on PortAtank, on AstroPatanks, I mean it's still AstroPatank 3DO. I just named the channel PortAtank because it sounds funny. Here I have my timer, and that ended up being 140 timer heads. I used to have 1000 because that's what we used today, but I realized, especially with the DJ GBP port, I was gonna make a video about that. I realized that it's very costly, especially with the CWS DPMI calls. I have if digit GBP else, and I was wondering why is that, and I found out again by conversing with the AI that 1000 Hz is too much for a 386. And people used to have 100 Hz, 70 or 140 was common. Why 70? Because 70 is the VGA. If I sing on VGA, I'll get 70. It's one screen refresh. So maybe I said, okay, I'm gonna put. If you put it something very low, if you put it 35, the animation is jerky. If you put it 50, 70, 100 was okay, but I realized, you know what, 140. And I even gained 1-2 frames on the even in the Wacom build, and I was doing something wrong with the DJGBP build. Anyway, I went out of. The thing is, my initial code. I was here on the game update, and I was saying update sound effects or something for the speaker. Now the player was setting an interrupt, and I changed that the player interrupt with my interrupt, and now I say update sounds in the interrupt, and to me it was magic before, because for some reason I never fiddled enough with those interrupts and so on before. And this is how you should normally do it, not just on every frame. I might even, the thing is, some of the game's physics is still on the update gameplay. Some of the game physics is plus, just increase a value, and some of the other value is based on the movement of the space. It is based on a data on the time difference, but I have some. See, I do player thrust plus. I don't do plus equals dt by something else. But I wonder if I could have a physics update. I could have the physics update at 70, but also, if you see here, the interrupt is set up to be, and you see the same number. I had the number here all along. This is in 1 and not 2. Why is it in 1 and not 2? I mean, it doesn't matter. I didn't got that from ChatGPT. I got that from a tutorial. I got this weird code from a tutorial, and it was explained that you used to have. Now I'm not doing that. This is something I have to fix. The thing is, since I tied this one to the MusPlay, the MusPlay is updating the DOS clock from the old time. But for a simple timer, if you didn't do that, the DOS time would not update. And here I am 140 Hz that I have set up somewhere. And so I'm updating this. Say if it's 2, make it 0 and update sound. I could even do next sound timer end 1, but okay. So I guess you can, this interrupt runs on 140 Hz, and you can run things at 70 Hz, 35 Hz. I could also do it the other way around, update twice. Anyway, I diverted. The thing is, I have to do something like that on the actual 3DO, because now if I build it, I already will. Let's run Phoenix, which is accurate. if I run Phoenix, and I'm no overclocking. Explain to me, why doesn't Phoenix have the banner screen? Phoenix bypasses the banner screen. Now I remove the VSync. This is normal speed. Now I have still not run on the actual 3DO. It could be that, it could be less. Now if I replace the polygons with cells, this could go easily, especially this screen, easily over 60 Hz. Here's the thing. You see, the sound is, because I'm not getting 70 Hz, and the slower I get, because I'm updating every frame and not in a timer interrupt, especially here, that is very slow. If you are to put it like that, enable VSync. I saw the rings. The sound is the same, very close. Cool, cool. Let's find. I want to hear all the sounds. Let's get our. Where is it? Where is. Man, I wanted to show you some things. Yes. Assuming. Let's put back the overclocking. Assuming I can reach that. Or probably I have to learn how to create some thread. Did I? I didn't. So that would be something I should try to fix. Unless I make it so fast, I still have to see how to make. I have a timer in 3DO. It shouldn't be hard to figure out. And again, 3DO operates. I have it in tools and not in core. Operates with these items. It's a very standard object. I need time. I just call this function get timer IO rec, and I just get them set. So this is all on the 3DO. This is so simple, and I'm getting that much simpler than the PC that you have to do some low-level DOS stuff to disable the DOS time IRQ8 DOS timer. Was it on IRQ8? Wasn't IRQ0? I remember there was an 8 somewhere, and you have to steal it, and you have to chain it so that the old DOS timer for the old clock still continue working. So when you return from your game, the clock still works. It's not, it hasn't lost time. And you have to change the PIT. You were changing the PIT, PIT. But here on 3DO they have this high level get timer. There has to be something else that has you create an interrupt that runs on a stable time, and I can just put it, make it to play the sound. I could even put it to 70 Hz if I want to I don't think it's a problem even if the console runs at 50 or 60 Hz, if the sound output goes at 70. I don't think. You will command the DSP every 70 times per second to actually hold it. The DSP is gonna play. I update the frequency. I'm playing a constant tone. I just update the frequency. I see. I start the square DSP, the waveform, and this is gonna continuously play till I say stop. Now with my engine, the update sounds, obviously. This one, which probably I'm right now calling just here after every frame. Like if you call it more, you're gonna hear this. Too fast. But if you go slow, and I think 40 for some reason is suffering. It's slower than real hardware. Okay, maybe that doesn't work because I called the update 4 times. It changed the frequency very fast 4 times, and then it skips two screen refreshes or three. It takes it pause. This has to be, yeah, else you will have the sound muffled. Anyway, guys, I was gonna work on the replacing the cells, the polygons with cell rendering. But maybe it was better that I show you the sound thing, because I show you this audio thing, which could be interesting for sound. Like, this is how the audio works on 3DO, and you can do some really cool stuff. And this is how I programmed it to mimic the PC speaker sounds. And all I need is to find a good... Maybe I should do that first. Because I was thinking, I might go outside with my laptop now in a cafeteria, the thing I do to get out of home and still code. And I wanted in this video to start porting the cell renderer, because it's very fundamental, and we'll see how I'll do. And then I thought, no, I'm gonna do this outside now, because I did the audio. So you might not see all of the, but you might see clips of it. Maybe I'll explain how I did things later. But now I think if I try to find in the documentation how to set up the PC speaker sound to play at 70 Hz, to update the sound at 70 Hz, that would be better, so that I can later do the other video, so that we see the more interesting and I can even explain the other thing what I did. So I don't need every part of this port to be captured by video. Maybe I'll just do this episode just to see where we are and motivate myself to do a bit more and find funny things. But anyway, that was cool. I do like the DSP idea for audio. Initially I wanted a function that says play sound, and I was annoyed. There are a lot of functions here. I don't like to, even though I might be missing things, I don't like to go and read 100 function. I like to go the other way. I like, please, I want to do the simple thing. I don't want to read 100 things and do one thing. So I want to do many things. And when I need, read something that helps me. But I know you might say that that's not good. You should be more curious to read documentation. But documentation, it's because I could spend weekends reading that, and I might forget them if I don't use them somewhere. Now you could read something and try to do something, but then I will end up doing little experiment examples instead of building the actual thing. And anyway, guys, that's it. I hope the volume is better, but probably it won't be. It could be slightly better because I increased something slightly. See you in the next video. Bye.